Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you 2 easy ways to make a sheet pan pizza. We're going to make this with and without a stand mixer. This is going to be really easy and it's beginner friendly and anybody can make this. We're going to use rapid rise instant yeast, okay? Check the date on the back of your yeast to make sure that it's not expired. My gosh. Okay, so you're going to need 1 3/4 cups of water. Okay, now we are going to measure out the flour. Okay, so I'm going to weigh my flour in grams and I'm going to measure out 420 grams of all-purpose flour. If you don't have a scale, it's okay. You can use 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay, just be sure not to pack your flour into your cup because then you might have more flour than you think in that cup. Now to this, you're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, and you're going to add 1 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. Okay, so now you're going to add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and then mix all of these ingredients well to combine. Okay, so go ahead and make a well in the center of your flour. Get a thermometer. Okay, you're gonna need one for this, trust me, because you're gonna need to check the temperature of your water. If it's too hot, you will kill the yeast. The temperature of the water should be 110 degrees Fahrenheit, anywhere between 105 and 110, but I like to just try and stick to 110. Okay, so gently stir your ingredients until they are just combined, okay? And if you see any small amounts of dry flour, don't worry about it because the moisture that is within that bowl is going to take care of that. Remember that yeast is a living organism, is going to take care of everything. So your dough can look just like this at this point here when you stop. When you stop stirring, it can look just like this. It's fine. So get some plastic wrap, cover it very, very tightly. Okay, this is going to trap in the moisture. It's also going to keep our dough from drying out. So now we're going to place our dough inside of a microwave. Okay, this is the warmest environment that you'll probably have in your house, especially around this season with it being fall and winter. So if you add some hot water to your microwave, and I'm talking about boiling hot water, that is going to keep your microwave nice and hot. Okay, so this is our proofing environment. You know, anytime you're proofing dough, it needs to be in a warm environment for the dough to rise. So I'm going to let this proof for just under 2 hours. And I'm just checking on it here, just letting y'all get a look at what it looks like. So the dough is done. It did rise. So go ahead and get a wooden spoon and just prick your dough. This will help to release the gases that have built up within the dough. Okay, and now from here, I want you to add a little flour on top of your dough before you drop it onto your cutting board. Okay, so that step I missed, obviously, and as a result, it was much harder for me to handle the dough, and it took me about 11 minutes before I could finally pick up this dough. So I've added some flour to the dough. I've also added some flour to my hands. And right here, I am not kneading the dough. I'm not doing any special technique. Okay, I'm just simply trying to pick it up. That was it. And yeah, the dough was really sticky and it was very moist. It was super soft. Okay, so I was just trying to pick it up. So if you run into this problem, just continuously add small amounts of flour to the dough, you know, to help you to handle it, you know. So I use my dough scraper to divide this dough in half. Okay, now I'm just going to show you how to stretch it out and drop it on your baking sheet. Okay, so again, this is a sheet pan pizza video, so I'm going to use a sheet pan, but you know, you can use a cast iron, you can use a round pizza pan, a pizza stone, you know, you can use whatever you desire to use. But yeah, so you just want to drop your dough on top just like this. You can use a little flour if your dough is still really sticky, and you're just going to press it out with your fingertips just like this. Okay, so make sure your oven is preheated. I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier. If you're, making this now as you watch the video, please preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Okay, so we're just going to pre-bake this for 7 minutes. Now let's work on our dough that we're going to make in our stand mixer. So we are going to be using the same ingredients. However, we're going to be using different measurements. So I've added a half teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, to 3.5 cups of flour. Okay, mixed it well. Now I'm adding 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. Give that a quick mix. Now I'm going to add 1 1/3 cups of warm water. Again, make sure you check that temperature with a thermometer. It should reach 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So now we're going to stir this with our stand mixer. Make sure that you use your dough hook attachment. Okay, and then you need to increase the speed to a number 4. And you're going to let this knead for 7 minutes. Okay, so you should look for that dough to form into a ball. If it does not, don't worry about it. You can always drop in a small amount of flour that will help the dough to release from the sides of the bowl. Okay, and as you can see clearly, my dough did not form into anything here. And, that's fine. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. Okay, so now we're going to add our dough to a lightly floured cutting board. Sprinkle a little flour on top of the dough. Make sure your hands are floured. Form it into a ball. We're going to proof this inside of a large bowl that's been greased with olive oil. Okay, so add that to your bowl. And again, you're just going to cover it just like we did with the previous dough that we made. Yeah, this is going to trap in moisture. You're going to put it in your microwave, which should be very, very warm with that hot water in there. We're only going to proof this for 10 minutes. That's it. Okay, so I have here my cheese as well as my toppings. Now, when you make your pizza, you do not have to use these same toppings, of course. You could use, whatever you like. So I typically just like to use olives, and I'm going to give these a chop because I don't like my olives really large. No. So I'm going to slice my green bell peppers and then just chop my bacon. Now, I normally don't, add any raw meat to my pizza, especially bacon, because look at all of that bacon grease that's rendered out into the skillet. Can you imagine that all over your pizza? No, that would just be way too much on top of a pizza. Make sure that you go ahead and cook your vegetables. If you're using them, this will soften them up. We're going to season our sheet pan. So I'm adding a small amount of olive oil to coat the bottom of the sheet pan. Okay, now I'm adding a small amount of cornmeal, oregano, and salt. Okay. So here's my dough. Is done after 10 minutes, and it really didn't rise the way that I had hoped, but I just had to punch it anyway. That released the gas, y'all. I wasn't mad at the dough. Okay, so stretch out your dough just like this. Okay, and we're going to lay this on top of the sheet pan, and again, we're going to do just like we did with the first batch that we made. You're just going to use your fingertips to press down and out to work the dough to the edges of the pan just like this. Okay, and we are going to bake this in our preheated 450 degree oven for 7 minutes. So now while that bakes, let's make our butter sauce. Okay, so I have here a half stick of butter. I'm going to sprinkle in some garlic powder, parsley, and some salt. Okay, so when you make yours, just sprinkle in a little at a time, taste it, and make any adjustments as desired. Okay, mix this up. Now here is our crust. Okay, so it's already been pre-baked. Now you want to just spread some of that butter sauce on the edges of the crust. Okay, so just go all around, put as much as you like, but save some for when the pizza is finished because we're going to baste it again. Okay, and now we're going to add our pizza sauce, which was really spaghetti sauce. This is spaghetti sauce. You notice I didn't say much about the pizza sauce, okay? When you make your pizza, You can use marinara, pizza, regular pizza sauce, any type of sauce that you like. You know, to me, it's all the same. You know, you're not going to really notice the difference. I mean, that's just me, but you know, you use your favorite here. Okay. So I've added the cheese, the pepperoni, and I'm going to add the bacon, and then I'm going to add the green bell peppers. Okay. And the olives. Okay. And I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese and some mozzarella cheese. Then I'm going to bake this until it's done. So I don't have the time of how long it took because I lost my notes where I wrote that down. So I really don't remember. But basically, when you make your pizza, just watch it. You know, I believe this took about 15 minutes, maybe. I'm not quite sure, but you know, just watch it. And you're just going to make it till it's done to how you like it. Okay. And I need a better pizza cutter here because it just seems like every pizza cutter I've ever had, it sucks. I always struggle to cut this pizza. Y'all probably be like, why? Why is she cutting this pizza like this? My pizza cutter was tripping. Okay, so I hope that you guys will make this recipe, and this is what the crust looks like underneath. Yeah, so it's fine to how I like it. If you like yours more crispy, then just leave your pizza crust in the oven a little bit longer when you initially pre-bake it. You know, it's all about time and heat. If you want everything a little bit more crispy, leave it in there a little bit longer. Okay, so thank y'all for watching. Click that like button, and I hope to catch you on my next one. Bye bye.